Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet here on Metal Messiah Radio. Tonight we have a special guest on the show. We have with us Zorn from Zornheym. Welcome to the show, Zorn.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, Zorn, so tell us who's in the band and how and why you got this whole band together.
It actually started out with me having like this huge desire from a very, very long time to put a really cool concept band together. I've always been a great fan of like King Diamond, like the king of concept album and stuff like that. And I've been like dying to do something like this for a very long time. And like 2 years ago, it was like the perfect time for me to start doing it. And I started writing stuff. And after a while, I started presenting it to people in my surrounding. And I started with presenting it to the drummer of another Swedish band called Diabolical, our drummer Angst. And he was on board right away. We've been like traveling next to each other for a very, very long time. I mean, we were from the same area in Sweden, but we're both located in Stockholm. I was actually the one setting him up with the drummer gig in Diabolical back when they were looking for a new drummer. So, I mean, I recommended him to them, so of course I knew that he would be a very, very good drummer. And when he got on board, after a while, I came across Suka. He's actually from Ireland, but he moved here to Sweden a few years ago, and we have like a bunch of friends in common, and it actually started out with him helping me out, putting on some pickups for my studio guitar. So he actually started helping me out that way, and eventually, of course, we're both musicians, and he's also interested in this, the technical aspects. Like right now, he started a guitar building course, and that kind of stuff. I'm more into writing music and that kind of stuff. Versus he's going, full force. He's interested in everything. Mm-hmm. And of course, we started, talking, and he was asking me what I was doing, and when I started telling him about the things I had in mind, he presented that he had some really, really cool percussion libraries, and then I started fishing a little bit. Then maybe you could help me out with, because there are going to be some passages where I'm going to need a lot of different percussion. And then one day, I came over there, and he got the project file into his music program and pushed space. And when the track was done, and I told him that, like, this part we need to fix this and this, he just turned around and like, I really need to be a part of this. And he really digged the stuff. And the good thing with him is that he's actually he's good at everything that I'm not really interested in. He's good with the technical aspects around guitars. He has like a diploma in music, and he's like very good at arranging, like writing down arrangements, for, I mean, we're using like a real choir, we're using a real orchestra, and instead of giving that mission away to transcribe notation, he's doing it for us, which saves a lot of time and money.
Mm-hmm.
And so he basically jumped on right away, and then we had the vocalist spot left. And that was a very interesting idea, because everything was recorded, like the orchestra had recorded their parts for the first songs that we recorded, and then everything was done, but we didn't have a singer. So the first idea was to use different singers to, since every song is based upon different characters, that's locked into this asylum, we figured we would get different characters playing it. But then suddenly I remembered that a friend of mine did a guest, he filled in for another friend of mine in the Swedish band Scar Symmetry. One of their singers, Robert, that I'm actually having another band with, he was away on tour with his other band, Facebreaker. And then Rickard, or Bendler, he filled in for him. And I remember this YouTube clip that I saw back in 2009, and I was like, I wonder what this guy is doing nowadays. And the thing is that I've always seen him as a guitar player, because that's what he played when we grew up, because we grew up in the same city, in Finspång in Sweden. So I always saw him as a guitar player in a band called Backwardness. They had really cool live shows with burning axes that they were juggling and spitting fire. So they were the kind of the band that you do remember from your childhood. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And just watching this performance from a festival in Sweden just blew my mind, and I started looking for other stuff that he had done since, and he had released some own songs where he was playing guitar and singing and doing everything. And then basically I just shot him a message on Facebook, and I was being kind of cryptic with it, because I didn't want to start spreading the pre-production songs to everyone. So I was like, I'm going to send you 30 seconds of a track, and I would like you to put some vocals on it, and I'm going to send you the vocal patterns, and then if you have time, please record it and send it back to me. And he did that. He actually did it within 2 or 3 hours, and that showed me dedication, and that's something I really value and that we're looking for with band members, because it's this is such a huge project to do something like this that we're doing. We're actually trying to incorporate graphic novels, short movies, basically writing short stories and making music. So it takes a lot of dedication, and it takes a lot of the guys in the band. So there he was, executing everything perfectly. And when I heard the result, I immediately dropped the idea of having different singers, because he had this voice that the band had been looking for. And the thing with him is that he has so many different voices. He has this perfect normal and metal voice, and it's a really high-pitched black metal voice, and a really deep and dark death metal voice. So we were really experimenting a lot in the studio with finding the right voices for the different characters. Mm-hmm. Yep.
you have that new album coming out on November 4th, Darkness Reigns, on Non-Servium Records. So tell us about the concept of the album and the lyrical themes.
Okay, everything takes place at this asylum in Germany called Zornheym. And basically every track is about one of the inmates that's imprisoned there. So to every track we write like a doctor's note as well, you know, where we're going through the issues that this person is having, and we're actually having a real psychiatrists helping us with like getting the right wording and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And so basically every song is telling the story about one of the inmates and their life and how they ended up there. So just imagine that workload there. Mm-hmm. It's basically we basically have so much information about every song that we could have, you know, gone doing an album about each and every song.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And the concept is pretty huge. I think like right now we have lined out like concept ideas for at least 3 or 4 albums ahead, so we know that we're not going to run out of ideas. So we're very organized like that. We know exactly what the next album is going to be about, and so on.
And you also mentioned too about with every character you have like a book that goes along with it, or something like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, actually, to try and give the listener like the full scale enjoyment, if you can say that, of the concept. Actually, first we wanted to write like good songs, but if the listener want to travel deeper into the story that's behind it, we really want to give them the opportunity to do so. So we actually contacted a Finnish illustrator that's called Anne Bring, and her dream was to like make a graphic novel. So I said, we have this huge concept, and it would go absolutely amazing with a graphic novel. So I gave her some ideas for how we could do it, and we ended up with doing it like each and every song is going to have its own comic strip that we're going to put together with a limited edition of the album into a graphic novel. So if you want to know more about the stories behind each and every character, there's going to be like a 10-page comic strip about every character too, and how they ended up there. So basically we're giving the listener tons of puzzle pieces, and if you want to have the whole experience, you can puzzle them together by reading the doctor's notes, checking the graphic novel, and read the lyrics, and that's basically it. And to the tracks that we're going to do music videos for, we're skipping that performance concept that have really been done maybe too many times, and instead we're trying to visualize the comic strip and travel like even deeper into the concept. So the first short movie that we're going to release is for our latest single that we released last Friday, They Opposed. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually meeting up with a director tomorrow, and we're going to start layering out like the final layers and the filters that we're going to use. So the cutting work is already done. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to release that pretty soon, actually.
So you're into every aspect. You're into the listening to it, to the reading about it, to the watching the movie about it. So I think you got all of that covered to really, really, it's like you said, you're really getting deep into the psyche of these characters. Now, you also mentioned, too, that you had, like, live strings and all that kind of stuff. How did you go about finding, who to do this live string section for you?
It's actually a concert meister that I know that I worked with in the past for a bunch of other projects that I've been working on, and me and him, we were actually working on a string piece like 2 years ago that I had written for a Swedish singer-songwriter guy. Mm-hmm. And when he sent me like the final take that they did on it, I was so blown away that I felt like if he can bring my string arrangements to life and it sounds this amazing, I have to have it on my own magnum opus that I knew that I was writing back then, because I've been really putting in so much effort in this album, and it feels like the response we've been getting so far, it feels like people can hear that. Mm-hmm. It's like it shines through. I mean, since we had live strings and we had a real choir, we ended up having like 250 channels when we were mixing the opposed.
Oh my God.
So it wasn't a mix that was done in 30 minutes. So I mean, they have done a very good job. It's actually a Swedish string orchestra that's conducted by, it's actually called a concertmeister because he's playing as well. Mm-hmm. And his name is Petter Möller, and he's a really good guy. So they've been helping us out. They're located in a Swedish town called Vadstena, and the fun thing is that they have actually recorded all the strings in a real asylum.
Oh boy. That is
so it's sick. Even from there, they actually his rehearsal their rehearsal place is like next door to an old asylum, and to get like the big room kind of feeling, they recorded in there, and you can almost hear it shine through.
Well, that makes it even more, cool, And now, are there any other guests that appear on this album?
Yeah, we actually have in the choir we have Lars Palmqvist from Scar Symmetry. Actually, he's actually in the choir, and then we have a guy called Kane from Viamenta from Australia. He's actually doing like a clean section part in a song called A Silent God. And then we actually have the bass player from Facebreaker, Jonas Magnusson. He's doing one high-pitched vocal part together with Bendler. So there's a few guest spots.
Mm-hmm. And now you were just talking about releasing this single called The Opposed. Now you have art for this single. Are you going to use the same artist for the album as well? The cover art?
We're actually talking a little bit about that right now. Since the single has been going quite well, we have been discussing about releasing a second single, actually. Pretty soon, I hope. It's like our recording session got divided into two phases. Like we recorded half of the songs, and then we started label shopping, and then when we sealed the deal, we started recording the second phase of the album. So actually, it's like 3 songs left to get the orchestra to record on, and the choir as well. And I actually have a few guitar solos left on those tracks too that I'm gonna finish up next weekend. But so it's not sure, but I'm pretty sure that we're gonna use Jens Rudén that did the cover art for the single for the next. If we do another single, we will use him. We might use him for the full length too, but we have like 2 other designers that are quite interested in doing it. So instead of letting, because Jens, he's also going to do like the layout and all that stuff. So that's going to be pretty tricky, because we're going to pack it in a, I think you call it like a DVD Digipack. So it's a little bit bigger than a normal Digipack to make it look like some sort of doctor's journal or something like that.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be very cool packed, and like the first few hundred copies of it will also include the comic book too.
Is this going to be strictly a studio project, or do you plan on doing some shows?
Yeah, we definitely going to start doing shows. People have actually already been asking us, but we're trying to explain to people that we have our hands full right now. But everyone is very determined to bring this to stages, but just like with the music, we have like very high goals on how to do it, how we want to perform it. So we're probably going to need to do some secret test shows before we bring it to a stage near you. We even have some booking agencies that's been writing us and been asking, and of course the dream that we all have in the band is to be able to perform with an orchestra and a choir. And I mean, from day one, we decided that nothing is going to be impossible. It's just going to be a rocky road to get to each and every goal on this epic journey that we've been traveling on so far. So we'll probably figure that one out too. Maybe not tomorrow, but later.
So what's the best places for people to go to keep up with you guys and what's going on and when you're going to release your new singles and that kind of stuff? Do you have other sites, or is it basically Facebook?
We have Facebook, and that's facebook.com/Zornheym. And then we are on Instagram, and that address is Zornheym _official. And then we're on Twitter too. And we actually launched a website that's on Zornheym.com like last week, I think it was. But that one is still under construction. We just wanted to have something, somewhere where people could go, and it would be all our addresses. basically gathered.
There you go. Okay, well, there you have it. Zornheym has a single out now you can check out, and also has a new album coming out in a few months or whenever they finish writing it there, Zorn, on Non-Servium Records, Where Hatred Dwells and Darkness Reigns. So go check them out on Facebook. And Zorn, thank you for coming on the show to tell us about the band, and, we look forward to the rest of this album coming out.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. It was a pleasure, and I really hope that I get to talk to you again when the album is out.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have you come on, and we'll do a release show for sure.
That's great.